It was about 7 years ago. I'd been invited to speak at an event for artists, the kind of gathering where inspiration hangs in the air like incense. My talk, it wasn't meant to be easy. It was about struggle. It was about the raw, unglamorous truth beneath the artist's skin. But the speaker before me, he was electric. His voice, it lit the room like sunrise breaking through cathedral glass. Every artist in that room, every one of them, sat forward, eyes wide, hearts lifted. His message, it soared, a crescendo of faith and fire, leaving all of us, the whole audience, in euphoric applause. Then it was my turn. The silence that followed his ovation was deafening. So I turned to the host and I whispered, "Are you sure that you still want me to do this?" He nodded and he said, "We need your talk too, Carlos." So I stepped into the light and I said, "I hope I can bring even half the inspiration that you just did. But I'm here to tell you a painful truth. Most of you will likely fail at what he just inspired you to do." The room, of course, it went still. Eyes widened, a few smiles froze halfway, and I began. I talked about how creative fire, it flickers when no one's watching, how chasing validation can strangle meaning, and how accepting your real, your imperfect, clumsy, unpolished real is the only way to sustain your art without losing your soul. 10 minutes into that talk, the chairs began to squeak. A few people stood and even left. And yet, months later, even a year later, messages started coming in from those who stayed. They told me that talk had changed everything for them, because sometimes the talk that clears the room is the one that clears the heart. The room, it cleared that night, but something inside me opened. What I want to explore with you today is the idea that art is both the wound and the medicine, that the same hand that paints beauty must first touch pain, because creation at its core is confession disguised as craft. It's the soul whispering, "This is what it cost me to stay alive." And if you're brave enough to listen, we begin to realize the hurt was never the enemy. It was the proof that something sacred was being healed. Creativity isn't meant to stay comfortable. If your art never creates turbulence, it might not be flying high enough. That night, I realized how addicted that we are to applause. We crave the dopamine of validation more than the discipline of truth. Yet art, real art, was never born in comfort. It was born in the collision where beauty and brutality shake hands. Every artist eventually faces this choice. Do I entertain or do I awaken? The former, it fills the room. The latter empties it, but leaves echoes that never die. The ideal is seductive. It's really seductive. It's the gleaming version of who we think we're supposed to be. The artist who never doubts, never stumbles, never fails. But the truth is this: that version doesn't exist. And chasing it can become a quiet form of self-abuse. The shadow of the ideal whispers this: you're not enough until your art is perfect, until your audience grows, until your work looks like theirs. But the artist who learns to love his real, their messy drafts, their imperfect lighting, their trembling performances, that artist becomes unbreakable, because their worth isn't built on applause. It's built on authenticity. When you choose truth over performance, you'll disappoint people, no question. You'll lose followers, you'll lose friends, you'll even lose opportunities. But every time you tell the truth, the real, uncomfortable truth, you carve out a space for someone else to breathe. That night, as people walked out of the room, I really felt the sting of rejection. But later, I understood. I wasn't losing the room. I was refining it. The ones who stayed, they were ready. The ones who left weren't, and both needed to happen. There's a strange kind of silence that follows honesty. It isn't the silence of disinterest. It's the silence of digestion. It's the sound of the soul recalibrating. When the applause didn't come that night, I felt failure in my chest. But silence, I'm learning, is sometimes the highest compliment. It means your words entered quietly, bypassing defenses and landing where they're meant to, in the bloodstream of someone's becoming. Art, it doesn't always echo immediately. Sometimes it hibernates, and years later, it wakes up in someone else's courage. I think every creator has two selves. The ideal creator who dreams of mastery and perfection, and the real creator who shows up tired, who shows up doubtful, sometimes even scared. Maturity begins when those two selves stop fighting. The real creator accepts limits. They know that discipline, not emotion, sustains creation. They know that consistency beats charisma. They know that showing up matters way more than shining. The real creator may never fill a stadium, but they'll fill their life with meaning. A year after that night, I began receiving letters. Artists who had been in the room wrote to tell me that my talk stayed with them, not as a wound, but as a seed. Some that actually had gone through failure and finally made peace with it. Others had stopped chasing the spotlight and rediscovered joy in the shadows. They said, that talk, it didn't inspire me to succeed. It gave me permission to breathe. And that's when I realized truth doesn't inspire immediately. It liberates eventually. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just make art that pleases the crowd. Make art that confronts you, that unsettles, that exposes, that humbles. Be willing to clear the room if it means clearing the fog around your soul. Stop performing your ideal and start practicing your real. Because the artist who accepts their flaws becomes free to create something sacred, something no one else could ever counterfeit. Now go, honor truth, face what is, speak what's real, and create from the deepest place you know.